Authorities have released an image of who they believe may be the assassin of Charlie Kirk. FBI is offering a $100,000 reward.
At this hour, a massive manhunt for the assassin who gunned down a loving father of two, a husband. This after 2 arrests, many call them botched. I don't. At this hour, law enforcement has released a facial photo of the shooter. In the last hours, law enforcement has released a facial shot of the perp. I want you to look at it. We can learn a lot. There he is walking. We've also got a shot more head on. But look, there you go. Much, much better. That is him going up the stairwell. He is wearing jeans, a baseball cap, black in color. He's wearing tennis shoes, and we know he's left behind a foot impression. By the time we see him, he looks as if he is clad all in black, but this is him making his way up the steps. What can we learn? We already knew that it was released. He was college age. Here he is, clean shaven, college age. Man, do you really think your sunglasses are going to trick LE, the feds, the locals, the works? Good luck. In a couple of days, they're going to know where you bought those sunglasses and what you signed on the credit card slip. What can we learn about this guy? White male, college age, slight in build. Joining me right now, forensics expert and professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University. Okay, Joe Scott, it looks like he drove away from mommy and daddy's house in the suburbs and he decided to shoot somebody dead. Does he actually have his wallet in his front right pocket? I see a mark on his jeans that tells me that's how he usually carries it. In a moment, I'm going to figure out what kind of tennis shoes he's wearing. But you see the American flag with a gun on it? I'm learning so much right now. Okay, what do you see, Joe Scott?
Well, I see that he has ungloved hands, Nancy. And it looks like in the other shot, it looks like he may be making an effort to grab hold of that rail. Guess what? If you do that,
With his
you're going.
forearm, though, look.
Well,
He's
yeah,
using
but
his
how
arm,
do
not
we
his hand.
know? How do we know that he didn't touch any of those surfaces along the way? Locard's principle: every contact leaves a trace. You cannot be this perfect. All right. So up there, there's going to be information that will tie him back. I think biological information. We already have evidence that there may, in fact, have been a palm print left behind. You had mentioned a footprint, and also, if the reports are true and we're hearing about this weapon that may have been recovered, this is going to be a specific tie back to him, Nancy, just based upon the process of purchasing one, serial number that's on here, any kind of add-ons that may be found on this weapon. I'm thinking like scopes, and oh boy, the ammunition. We've got, from what they are saying, we have a spent round that's still chambered, because this weapon is a bolt action. That means you have to actuate the bolt itself, lift it up, pull it back. That ejects it. This is not a semi-automatic weapon. And then you force another round in. Nancy, he never ejected the round, according to what FBI sources are saying. And there are still 3 other live rounds in the internal magazine of this weapon. And all of them are going to have little bits that are going to be offered up relative to connectivity back to this person potentially.
I got to circle back to you on all the ballistics because I've got a
Yep.
lot to ask you
Yep.
specifically about serial numbers on guns unless they've been scratched off like we saw in Sean
Right.
Combs' case. A scope is an add-on that you have to buy. You can buy it online.
Yep.
You can buy it at a gun shop. Somebody like this guy, I bet he bought it at a gun shop. I bet he went into a gun store and browsed and browsed and browsed. I can't wait to see his smiling face on the surveillance video at a gun shop, because you know it's just like a Vegas casino and a gun shop. It is saturated with surveillance. But
You
I
bet.
want to go back to this picture. What
Mm.
can I learn? Guys, for those of you just joining us, there is a $100,000 reward from the FBI. Tip line 1 800 call FBI 1 800 225 5224. You may think what you know is not significant. You may think it doesn't matter. It does. You can also go to tips.fbi.gov. Another number, 801-579-1400. Repeat, 801-579-1400. Toll free, 800 call FBI 225-5224. The manhunt is on for Charlie's killer. Now, before I get into ballistics, back to the photo. Read the photo. These photos just released this afternoon. What does that tell me? They couldn't get a facial recognition ID. What is facial recognition, Joe Scott Morgan? How is it used?
Well, it's part of biometrics. So let's just say, for instance, you look into the lens of a camera, a CCTV camera. Uh, it can actually capture your image. They can feed it into a program that will put these specific points of identification on your face. You can come back with an actual identification of an individual. Also, perhaps an AI rendering that is going to more closely resemble anything that you might have with this kind of grainy image. And you can project that out there. Biometrics are also used so that you can access secure locations. You know, people use the eyes, some people use facial recognition. Heck, Nancy, we use these on our phones if it's if it's set up like this. So this is called biometrics. It's something that we use in forensics. You're right, you are, because apparently they could not get a read on this guy relative to any kind of enhancement they could have done. But this is still very early.
Hold
I
on,
would
hold on, Joe
I would hold
Scott.
on. Yep.
I was
Yes,
mocking
ma'am.
him, thinking he could fool us with a baseball cap and a pair of sunglasses from Dollar Tree, but it did stop facial recognition. What's facial recognition? Simply put, when you want to use your phone, you hold the phone up like that, and it opens your phone. The
Yep.
phone
Yep.
knows it's you. It's not just 007, okay, or Jason Bourne. Now, law enforcement, in many, many cases, can see your face, plug it into a computer, and they will give your DOB, your name, and your LKA, last known address. Yes, it's real. Facial recognition. Okay? If you don't like it, move to another country. But they couldn't get facial rec from him, I think, just because he wore a hat and the glasses. That was enough to throw it off, Joe Scott.
Yeah, it might skew it. Might skew the program's ability to pick up on those little nuances there. But Nancy, I got to tell you, these images. Look, you and I've covered a lot of cases where we have blurred images. Sister, this is not blurred. Somebody's going to know this guy. Dollars to donuts. We're going to know who this guy is. He's got this kind of angular jaw, clean shaven. He's thin. He's not like a big, robust person at all. Somebody's going to know who he is. Nancy, I got to tell you one more thing that's kind of intriguing me about this. If what we're hearing is accurate, Nancy, he had scoped this area out. He was familiar with how to get. Look, I work at a university. All right, I can't get access to roofs. You know, I don't know how to. And trust me, I wouldn't necessarily want to. This guy knew how to access a roof, allegedly, because they're talking about he had a static location. They're estimating maybe 200 yards away. And one more thing, if we could go back to that still image, if
Yes.
this is him progressing up the staircase to get to what people would refer to as a sniper's nest, where's the weapon? Well, my question would be next, did he
It's
already
broken down
pre-plan this?
behind him or up there already.
And did he have it up there already? Had he sighted, this is chilling, had he already pre-sighted? Because where Charlie was sitting, Nancy, is down in like an amphitheater. So he's in a perfect shooting location. It's from above to below and it's straight on, if we are to believe this. And it's, you have to account for something that's called bullet drop. When you're firing at a distance, we're talking about 200 yards. So gravity, the natural pull of gravity relative to that round going down range, it's not going to drop a lot, but it still will. Nancy, he scored a shot in the neck at that distance, and it was instantaneous. I think that God rest his soul. I think Charlie was probably deceased by the time he hit the ground. Some of the things that I saw relative to the lifting of the hands, he was having a neuromuscular response in that instance, and of course, this copious amount of
Wait,
blood
whoa, 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 whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa,
issuing
whoa,
from his
whoa,
body.
wait. Now,
Yeah,
hold on. You're saying it was a neuromuscular response,
yeah,
that
yeah,
he took his right hand and put it up to his neck.
yeah. It's kind of raised like this, where you're
I thought he
clutching the
did that
thumb.
intentionally, that he knew what had happened, but you're saying it was just a muscular
No,
response?
let me give you a good example. If you ever watch
Okay.
football, which I watch a lot, if you ever see one of the players on the field take a shot to the head or to the neck, you will see them kind of clench their thumbs like this, and they'll lay down on the ground. And many times that's an indication that you've got, you've had your bell rung. Well, if you think about this and you think about this round, think about where it went in, Nancy. It's to the left of the midline in the neck. If it's traversing like this, it's probably going to clip the spinal cord. And in that region, this is merely speculative on my part, but in that region, C4 and above, C4, C3, C2, C1, Nancy, those are unsurvivable injuries if that cord is damaged right there. So you're fighting two things: you're fighting blood loss, and you're fighting clipping of probably the spinal cord itself. That level controls whether or not your diaphragm is going to operate. C5, I think Kendall Crowns made this point. C5 below, you're talking about maybe being a paraplegic. But at that height where this round entered, I think that this was an unsurvivable wound.